What's up, everyone? My name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. I react to video game music as a musician myself. Today is a Patreon request for Leon's Bane and Lance. This was randomly drawn from my draw that I do every time I record. This is Golden Sun, The Elemental Stars. This is the second time I do Golden Sun, composed by Motoi Sakuraba, I think. And I kind of vaguely remember what that sounded like before. I just remember it was like very energetic and kind of weird. So I don't know, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of like Golden Sun fans out there. So Game Boy Advance, cool. Let's go. Only for Game Boy Advance. That MIDI choir. That little bell sound has never stopped over here. It just keeps going. It sounds very Nintendo to me. On a side note, this was a handheld. That's impressive. Yeah, that sound has not stopped one time. Okay. Got a couple of different emotions and little feelings I got with this one. So, funny enough, even though I've never had any sort of Nintendo console outside of a Game Boy Color, from what I've heard throughout my life and on this channel, there seems to be a sort of Nintendo sound, I guess. And I can't really explain that besides just that. So if I heard this blind, didn't see the image, didn't know what it came from, nothing, I still would have thought to myself, this sounds like Nintendo. And that's strange because it's different composers and, but there's just something that I've noticed that they just have this, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but there's kind of this formula of just certain sounds, very simple melodies that get stuck in your head. And I don't know, it has to be intentional, but it's just something I noticed, and it was clearly present here. For example, two games I discovered on this channel, Chrono Trigger and Donkey Kong. It reminded me of both of those, and if I recall correctly, I'm not sure about Chrono Trigger actually. I don't remember, but they have, you know, from the Nintendo library. I could be wrong about Chrono Trigger, but I'm pretty sure I saw a Nintendo box for CT. Anyways, very Nintendo sound, and I just kept thinking that the whole time. As far as setting and what this kind of like gave me, I got a specific kind of like vision, but I feel like it may be totally off. And that vision was like a dark space, not space like outer space, not cosmic, anything like that. Which is funny because the song is called The Elemental Stars, but more of like an actual, you know, area, like maybe a corridor or a what's the word I'm thinking of? Not a tunnel, but like a catacomb, something just dark. It has this kind of overtone of maybe sadness as well. The flute sound sounds a little solemn as well. But at the same time, we had the little like doom 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 going on the entire time, which made me think that that could be like a motif or something. I can't tell you if this was like maybe later in the game or early on. I have no clue. And the name sounds interesting too. The Elemental Stars. You know, I think wind, water, etc. So a lot of questions here. But overall, I would say for such a short loop is that it gave me like this kind of not so hopeful feeling. It felt kind of sad and maybe even loss. But to be totally honest, I was thinking to myself, like I said, I came from a Game Boy Color. I could be wrong about this, but I think the Game Boy Advance was the next handheld after the Game Boy Color. Either way, it was shortly after. But the jump in sound from that to this, which I'm guessing if this was Advance, this must have been early 2000s. And I do know it's an RPG based on the requester sent me a note saying this is from an RPG. And, you know, the kind of the looks of it kind of hints at that too. But I'm just saying the sound quality of the Game Boy Advance that I've heard so far is actually like remarkable. And I kind of like can't believe the jump between those two. So if anything, I always look forward to Nintendo stuff in general on this channel because I missed out on the entire library basically. But I'm very interested in the Advance. The 64 too, I don't think I've done a single 64 song now that I think about it. Have I? Man, I'm asking, all these questions are coming up. I don't think I've done 64. Either way, but Game Boy Advance, it's a handheld. So this must have just sounded like over the top back then. So it sounds cool now, but I can imagine, you know, when people played this in the heyday with headphones on, or even just through, I don't know, I'm sure the speakers were decent, who knows. But that sounds great. That sounds really, really good. But overall, I kept thinking to myself two things: sadness, dark, and very Nintendo-like sound. If you know what I mean by that, well, I guess you know what I mean by that. But let me know if anyone else thinks that. Is that crazy to think that, or have everything I've just heard kind of have this pattern? I can't explain it besides that. I don't know. You know, I grew up with PlayStation and Sega, so to me, those are like obviously completely diverse all over the place. But Nintendo, as diverse as it is, I'm not saying it all sounds the same, but it sounds like it came from a Nintendo game. Anywho, thank you, Leon and Lance, for that. Golden Sun is cool. It's unique and weird, and it reminds me of cool games like Chrono Trigger and Donkey Kong. So that's a win for me. A big thank you to my Patreon supporters, thanks to my PayPal supporters, and a huge shout out to my Platinum supporters, Kevin, Patrick, Shadow Maxim, Vanadel, Callanan, Gardelane, Mushimari, Justin, Knox, and Esflaw. Thanks to you for watching. I will see you dudes and dudettes in the next video. My name is Jesse. Take it easy.